Caesar de Bello Gallico, Book 4, Chapter 28. Ablative absolute clause, with peace having been firmed up or confirmed by these things. 18 ships, Solawarant, loosed out of the upper port with a gentle wind. All right, so what's the upper port? That's the port back on the continent. So we had 18 ships about whom it was shown above, which had carried the cavalry, loosed out of the port back in Gaul with a nice wind. After the fourth day, which it was a coming into Britain. So after 4 days, Caesar could have used those cavalry. Finally, they set sail from Gaul. When those ships were approaching, this is why it's a cum clause, cum plus subjunctive. It's when they were approaching. Now, apropinquo could be seen as a compound verb taking the dative. It's really ad propinquo. Or it could also be seen as a special verb taking the dative. Either way. We're approaching Britain, and were being seen from camp. So they were in sight of camp. Suddenly, such a great wind, storm, cohorta est, arose, result clause, that no ship, why is this feminine? Because it's referring to ship. No ship of them, that's why it's feminine, because it's referring to ship, was able to what? Complement clause, to hold the straight course, but alia, some and others, some were carried back to the same place from which they had set out. Others, complement clause, were thrown to the lower or southern part of the island, which is nearer the setting of the sun. So that means the west, with great peril of the greatest peril of themselves. Those guys, however, with anchors having been cast out, it's like, okay, well, we won't be tossed off course. We'll throw our anchors. When they were being filled with waves, having been, that's the ships, having been borne forward by necessity into the deep in an unfavorable night, they sought again the continent. So therefore, some of the ships were tossed off course. Some were blown straight back to Gaul. Others, they tried to put out the anchors and hold steady near the camp of Caesar, but they were filled with waves, having been carried forth by necessity into the deep. They couldn't stop it. In an adverse night, they were thrown off course. They returned to the only place they knew how, back to the continent. Well, that's a problem. Why is it a problem? It's a problem because Caesar doesn't have any cavalry anymore. Without any cavalry, he's definitely not at the best advantageous position to deal with the Gauls and all of their cavalry and war chariots. That's going to be a difficulty for him. And we'll see what happens in Caesar's twisty turns of fate next time, true believers. And until then, Excelsior.